This Week in East Brunswick. The summer's officially over and township schools have opened, with more kids enrolled than the schools were designed to accommodate. This week, Superintendent of Schools Dr. John Kopko invites residents to participate in solving problems related to the growth in enrollment and to the aging infrastructure of our schools. Michael Opaleski talks about the new recycling facility on Dunham's Corner Road. And we'll take a look at highlights from the new fall season on Channel 8. The long-awaited and much-anticipated multi-million-dollar Rutgers football stadium opened this past Saturday with a victory against Kent State. This month on Sports Talk, hear about the new stadium from head football coach Doug Graber. We'll have an excerpt from that show this week, and from 2 fall shows focusing on the life of high school-aged kids. But first, here's a look at programming on Channel 8 next week. Join Lenore Kulik Monday morning for a half hour of exercise. That's on Look Great, Feel Great at 10. At 10:30, it's stories about magic for preschoolers on Stories from the Library. Tuesday night's lineup includes EB18 at 7 o'clock and Sports Talk at 7:30. How I Survived High School, an original play written by Elliot Taubenslag and directed by his son Michael, is featured Wednesday night on For Art's Sake. It deals with diverse issues, including teenaged friendships, dating, and suicide. That's at 7:30. At 8 o'clock, the Arts focuses on the Rutgers Film Co-op, a nonprofit film exhibition festival and filmmaker series. The program will include a cultural events calendar for September and a preview of the upcoming fall New Jersey Film Festival with curator Al Nygren. For a new edition of This Week in East Brunswick, our most watched show, turn to Channel 8 Thursday night at 7 or 8 o'clock. At 7:30, Patty Sullivan opens a new season of Aging Aspects with a follow-up visit with caregivers of people with Alzheimer's. Check the community bulletin board for Saturday's repeat schedule and additional programming information, including coverage of East Brunswick High School sports.
Hello, my name is Michael J. Opaleski, and I'm the Director of Public Works and Water Resources for the Township of East Brunswick. Today we're here at our new reclamation center on the corner of Dunham's Corner Road and Church Lane, and this is the new site that was moved off the old aquatic center. The reason we had to move our site was that we had a conflict with some green acres, and we have a larger and more expanded site at Dunham's Corner Road. As you can see behind me, we have an area that can handle virtually all drop-offs of recycled material that if you have a misstopped or if there is a holiday that you can bring your materials to. One of the problems that we're having at this site is that many people are bringing in materials not packaged properly, placing them in the wrong containers, or are bringing in garbage or illegal material. We'd like to tell the citizens of East Brunswick that the site is open during the week from 8 until 4, during the weekend on Saturday from 8 until 2, and then we are closed on Sunday and holidays. Our major problem with illegal dumping is occurring on the weekends. We are asking our residents to please abide by the rules that we have established, as well as the operating hours. We are presently looking at having to issue summonses to the illegal dumping. Some of the illegal dumping is dropping off of waste oil, which should not be dropped at the Reclamation Center on Dunham's Corner Road, but it should be brought to our Four Hearts Lane Center at the Public Works Center. All waste oil can be handled there in an environmentally sensitive way. It cannot be handled at the Reclamation Center, so please bring the oil to Four Hearts Lane. The other materials that we're talking about that are being disposed of at the Reclamation Center are tires, which cannot be handled here, white goods, which can be picked up at the curb if you call in National Waste. So most of the materials that we're dealing with here are our commingled, our cardboard, our junk mail, and our newspapers. The other thing that we're asking is that once you're on site, is to please place the material to corresponding bins. There is an additional signage at the location here on Dunham's Corner Road to let you know on how the material has to be packaged or left at the center. One of the problems that we're also looking for is to keep down the litter that blows from the newspapers, so they must be tied. We understand that's an inconvenience to some residents, but it will help the neighbors of the Reclamation Center. So please have the materials tied. We also have an individual on site whenever the site is open, so they can assist you with removing materials from your car or directing you to the correct bin that you have. We also have on the site the major transfer point of where all the materials that is collected on curbside is brought to for processing through roll-offs. You have to remember that we collect over 2,000 homes a day, and that material has to be brought to the center, placed in the roll-offs, and then taken to market. We are again asking the residents not to use the roll-off containers to drop off their material. It is somewhat restrictive and also dangerous to be in the area where we have some major trucks working from National Waste, who is our contractor. So with the new site and the expanded use, you can bring all of your recyclable materials to the Dunham's Corner Road site. And we thank you for this opportunity to explain what is happening here.
Hi, I'm Amy Fisher, and today I'm outside of Warnsdorfer School with our superintendent, Dr. John Kopko. And Dr. Kopko, we're going to talk a little bit about the committee that you formed to study school facilities. Could you tell us what happened at the first meeting?
Yeah, Amy, we held our first meeting of the school planning committee last week. And our intention, with this committee is to generate as much community input as we possibly can regarding what will happen in the future to our facilities here in East Brunswick. We were going to limit the membership on the committee to 30 individuals. But as the letters, applications for membership began to come in, there were just so many talented and interested people that we felt that then anyone whose application was in by the deadline, we would select for the committee and basically ask them to assist us in this planning session. So we have approximately 70 individuals from the community of East Brunswick who have volunteered their time and also their effort to help us in this venture.
Could you tell us what you charged the committee to do?
Well, we did develop a mission statement for the committee, and that mission statement basically states that the charge of the committee would be to develop a proposal to resolve problems related to growth in enrollment, aging infrastructure, lack of technology, and the resultant limitations to educational programs for students in the East Brunswick Public Schools.
Okay, now what is the next step for the committee?
Well, after our first meeting, we gave each of the individuals, I guess what you could call a homework assignment, which seems very appropriate since this is our first day of school here as well in East Brunswick. But we've asked them to meet individually with at least 20 residents. And if you consider that we have the number of people that we have on the committee, that should generate responses in the vicinity of over 1,000 individuals. And so we're really attempting to reach out to the community to find out how they feel about the facilities so that we can develop direction for the district.
And they're going to ask questions of these people?
We tried to make it very brief and as simple as we possibly can. And we've asked them to each ask 2 questions of the 20 residents that they meet with and then report back to us on Monday of next week when we'll be holding our second meeting of the planning committee. Those questions basically were which issues related to facilities, technology, and programs do you believe will be most critical for the East Brunswick School District during the next 5 years? And then the second question is, what would you propose as the solutions to these issues? So when we get those responses in, we're going to compile them together and hopefully build a consensus so that we do have a direction.
And then you're going to have a community forum to obtain input from still more people.
Right. We've tentatively scheduled that community forum for September 28th to receive additional input from possibly individuals that weren't contacted with the questionnaire and individuals who might have some suggestions of other options that we're not seeing. So we're really open, but we are at a very, very critical time where something does need to be done with our aging facilities, here in the district, and something does need to be done regarding the increase in enrollment and the overcrowding that we're seeing in some of our buildings.
How many students are enrolled this year?
Well, currently there are 7,072 students, and that's an increase of 579 students in the past 5 years.
Large increase. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Kopko, and good luck with the committee.
Thank you.
For years, Channel 8 has produced a regular monthly half-hour show devoted to the interests of teenagers. Last year, a dozen high school-aged kids turned the show around by taking it out of the studio and onto the street. When they changed the name of the show from 18 to TeenTV, they also changed the format. Instead of focusing a whole show on one topic with one host, they began covering a wide range of topics with many hosts and production assistants involved in the production of each show. This year, minus a few of last year's graduated seniors and with the addition of a few new people, the TeenTV crew continues the push from talking heads to a faster-paced, more interesting magazine format. In September, they looked at jobs for pay and volunteer. Here's an excerpt.
Hi, I'm Francine Schiffman, and I'm here today at Crystal Springs to talk to the lifeguards and to find out about their duties and to clear up any misconceptions that people might have about their jobs. What sparked an interest of you becoming a lifeguard?
Well, a few years ago, I had an incident with a younger cousin of mine almost drowning, and I had to save her. I had CPR skills. And in that, I knew that I always wanted to save someone. If I was ever in that situation again, I wanted to know exactly how to do it and what to do right.
What training did you have to go through then after this?
I went to Middlesex County College and I took a lifeguard course. Plus, when I came here this year, I took the Green Cross certification for water park safety.
As lifeguard captain, what are some of your duties?
I make sure the rotations go correctly. If there is a rescue, I have to determine what kind of rescue it is. If it's a backboard, or if it needs CPR or first aid, I have to make sure that the rescue squad is on its way.
Have you ever been involved with any other rescues besides your cousin?
Yes, I have. Last summer here when I was a guard, we had a few rescues, a double rescue, and a few others where we needed to have boards in and people out of the water.
How'd you feel? What was going through your mind?
Basically, when you're in a rescue situation, you don't have time to think. Your skills kick in, and your adrenaline takes over, and it's a scary experience, but you don't have time to be scared.
How's it been this summer at Crystal Springs? Do you enjoy working here?
Oh, I love working here. It's a big difference from the beach last year. It was a great beach last year, but this year it gave us all a chance to learn more skills. We didn't have the murky water, so it was a lot easier to do drills and be able to see our victim. And it's a great place here.
When you come into work, do you come earlier and work on drills or just do warm-ups?
No, we come early. Like today, we had an in-service training. We come either at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. We have about an hour of training. We do laps. We do rear huggy, most of our drills, what we do. And plus, we'll do a backboard simulation just to get everyone ready for the day.
I heard you were calling for a mask a lot. What was the mask and what does it do?
Okay, when someone is unconscious, the mask protects the rescuer from any germs or anything that the person may have. Plus, it's a safe seal mask, so if the person's head goes underneath the water will not get in that person's face, and we could start CPR in the water.
What does being a lifeguard mean to you?
Well, being a lifeguard means you have to be responsible for other people's lives. You always have to be on the ball. You always have to be alert. You can't really relax. People get that idea about lifeguards, just lay out in the sun all day looking at girls. But you really can't. You have to always be on the ball, looking out for everybody. So a lot of responsibility with the job.
Why did you want to become a lifeguard? Did you know it was so demanding at the time?
Not really. I thought I had the same idea that you just lay out in the sun all day looking at girls, but now that I realize it, I like it actually more so now than I did if I was just laying out in the sun.
What are your feelings towards people that think lifeguarding is just sitting around and getting a tan?
I think they're wrong. It's much harder than that. They think you just sit on stand and you just, get a tan, and you really don't. You have to watch your water, and you have to be pleasant to all the patrons, and they're not always pleasant to you. But it's a hard job. You're out in the sun, in the heat, and it's hard work, but it's fun. You get to meet a lot of people, and it's just, you get to be with the water, and if you like the water, it's a great job.
Do you have any other sorts of duties to set up for openings?
Well, most guards are in charge of swim lessons. We had swim lessons through the month of July where you came in at 8 o'clock in the morning and you gave lessons to children at different levels. You also have to, when they need chairs to be stacked, you have to help with the stacking of the chairs. If they need any maintenance work done, you have to help with that. You're required to do in-service training, which I think you saw this morning. We've been doing that for a week straight. Every morning we come in and we just test our skills to keep them up.
Do you plan on coming back next year?
Most likely. It's a fun facility, and the staff is really nice, and we really are like one big happy family. I know it sounds quite corny, but we are. Everyone knows each other's names, and they're all very nice and very polite. It's fun to work here.
What made you decide to be a lifeguard this summer?
Well, my mom had been a lifeguard and she really enjoyed it, so I was looking for a summer job and I thought that I just, might give it a try.
What sort of training did you have to do before?
They gave us a course actually run by Lee and at the barn in New Brunswick where we had to learn our CPR skills and learn our water rescues, but that was it. There was no prior training that we had to take.
Did you personally have any prior training?
No, well, I'd had my CPR card, but no lifeguard training.
Being a lifeguard, is it different than everyone thinks it is? What do you actually do?
It's a lot different than the typical stereotype of just hanging out and tanning and just looking for, a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. It's hard work. You really have to concentrate on it, because it's a lot of responsibility. Somebody could get really hurt if you're not doing your job.
For more interviews with teens who worked this summer, including volunteers at St. Peter's Medical Center, watch for TeenTV Wednesday night, September 21st at 8 p.m. Sports Talk begins its 13th season on Channel 8 this month with host Phil Hill's interview with head coach of Rutgers football team, Doug Graber.
A lot of people are saying this is truly the Doug Graber era. I mean, all the recruits from Dick Anderson have graduated, and everybody that's on the team now is someone that you recruited. Does that make a difference?
Well, I think it does. We tried to downplay that. It's like admitting or giving yourself an excuse not to succeed. And we tried certainly not to do that. But yeah, every player that's in our program is one of my guys, right, so to speak. And last year's senior class was really a mix. It was some of the players that Coach Anderson recruited. When we came here, we were scrambling. We took junior college guys. We had a lot of transfers in that group. One of them an East Brunswick guy, of course, right. and it was kind of a hodgepodge. But this is our first senior class. It's really our guys.
You're a little different. I've talked to a number of people, and a lot of coaches in a lot of different sports, and they talk about this thing that they dislike most about college sports is recruiting, and you like it.
Yeah, I don't mind recruiting, Phil. I never, frankly, would have left pro football had recruiting been that distasteful to me. It's a major part of our job and job description, in particular as a head coach. And I think if you really totally dislike recruiting, you shouldn't be there in the first place. Now, there's some things about recruiting that I'm not necessarily excited about all the time, but I really enjoy getting out and selling the university and really selling myself and our coaches and our program, and I don't find it distasteful at all.
Well, these days you find yourself with a lot more to sell the university about, particularly the football program. Right. I'm talking about with the new stadium about to come about. Got to be a lot of excitement about that.
Well, that's putting it mildly. For myself in particular, to really, it's pretty humbling to have an opportunity to be involved from the ground floor up in the stadium and with the help of Senator Lynch and a lot of people like that, with getting the funds for the stadium, meeting with the architects, right from the first step. It's been a tremendous experience, and I am just, there's not very many people that in your lifetime really have a chance to be involved in something that's going to be meaningful and be there for a long time, and that's how I feel about the stadium, and I've really enjoyed it. It's been a tremendous amount of work, but I've enjoyed it's a labor of love, and I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm really proud of what we have.
So you've been in from the ground floor, input from the
absolutely, and again, not many coaches get an opportunity to do something like that, and that's why it's been such a thrill for me. And I think that, I'm prejudiced, you have to realize that, but I really feel like that we have one of the neatest college stadiums around in the country, any place. And everybody, from the architect to terminal construction to all the subcontractors, the people that really had the input, the state of New Jersey, and everything, and the Department of Transportation and all the things that they were able to accomplish in a short period of time. And it's not a finished product yet, but the stadium itself is truly spectacular.
Okay, I think it's fair to say, not just the stadium, but the entire complex with the bubble and the new lacrosse soccer field.
Right.
That Rutgers really has as fine a facility, sports facility, as any in the country.
We don't have to take a back seat to anybody. And the one thing I think that sets our building or house or whatever we're going to call it apart a little bit is we have a spectacular natural setting, all the trees and Athletes Glen, and in the fall of the year it's really going to be a sight.
I can imagine. You mentioned our house, and that's a term that's been thrown around. Fact of the matter is you've played your home games at Giant Stadium last year. Next year you'll be back home, and Doug Graber has not lost in our house.
Not yet, and we don't plan on starting soon. I think that was an important thing for our program, and the Meadowlands and the Sports Authority has been great to us, but college football is meant to be played on campus. And if you go back all the way through the great tradition that Rutgers have, if you really go back and look at it, for the past 125 years, Rutgers has done very, very well at home, and we have a great tradition. And like any coach, I'm trying to build on the things that are positive for us, and that's certainly one of them.
Class and read about a fellow. Cindy will be there. I hope that she says hello. What a way to start a day at high school. First comes math.
Hi, what you have just seen are scenes from How I Survive High School. I'm Steve Sackman, and welcome to For Art's Sake. With us today is the producer and director of How I Survive High School, Mr. Michael Tabenslag. Mike, thanks for coming.
No problem.
Michael, How I Survive High School. Obviously, it has to do with high school. Tell us all about it and how it actually got into being.
It really deals with the problems and the joys that kids go through. My father, Elliot Tabenslag, taught at East Brunswick High School, I guess, for about 37 years. And he asked his students towards, I guess, his last year before he retired, what's on your mind, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad. And everything that came across his desk, whether it was a poem, a monologue, a report, a picture, he basically studied all their problems and put them into play form. And this was 1986. And I saw the show. I was living in New York at the time, and he had 60 kids. It was their annual spring production. And I saw the show, and I loved it, and I wanted to do it in the city. So I actually auditioned people in New York, pared it down to 6 actors, and we opened in the city, and then we've been touring with it ever since.
You deal with substance abuse, peer pressure, dating,
suicide, sibling rivalry, loneliness, AIDS. Okay. Steroid abuse, you name it, we probably deal with it.
And what has been the response that you've got, more or less, from most of the high schools that you've been to?
They love us. My message behind the show is to let the kids know that they're not alone in their problems, that everybody's going through the same thing, it's not just you. When we produced the show in New York, the New York Times came to review our show, and their quote, which I actually use on my brochure, is, "You may think you're alone, but you're not. Everybody's going through the same problems. It's not so bad." And when I direct the show, my message is laugh at yourself. If you can laugh at yourself, your problems are half solved. Some of the issues, as suicide and drunk driving, we hit very head-on, and it's very hard-hitting. And a lot of the kids in the audience cry. They had a friend who was, committed suicide, or a friend who was in a drunk driving accident. Some of the scenes we try to deal with in a very, very humorous manner, where the kids can laugh at themselves. Sure. They say, like, wow, I'm not the only one going through this. Johnny's laughing, or Sue's crying, or whatever.
Now, you mentioned that obviously you're the director and the producer, but you're also in the show, or actually no more. This is probably going to be the first year that you're no longer in the show. Correct. Because you have more than one troupe going around now, so you've actually grown quite a bit, and there's going to be many more high schools that are going to see this. Right. Tell us about some of the things that we're going to be looking at, some of the scenes that we're going to be touching on.
Well, actually, one of the first heavy scenes in our show is a scene about a girl who's HIV positive. And we had we wanted to put a scene about AIDS or HIV positive, kids into the Part 1 production. And at that point, nobody wanted to hear about AIDS at all. It was a taboo. As soon as Magic Johnson came out and said, "I'm HIV positive," I got calls, "Do you have anything that deals with AIDS? Our kids need to know." And sure enough, we had the scene, and we said, let's put it in. We rehearsed it in like 3 days, put it in the next show, and it went over very, very well.
I'm HIV positive. What? I'm HIV positive.
Come on, what are
What are you laughing at?
No, come on, tell me what's really going on. What's bothering you?
I just tell you something serious, and you drag it out of me like you drag everything else out of me, and then you're just standing there and you're laughing at me. You know, just forget it. Forget it.
No, come on, tell me. Tell me what's really going on.
Nothing, nothing.
Come on,
Everything's fine.
tell me what's going on. Tell me what it is. Come on.
That's it!
Can I get it?
From me?
Yeah.
No.
How do you know?
You can't get it from just hanging out with me. I mean, it's not like a cold if I sneeze or cough on you. You're not going to get it. I mean, I could share the same phone or toilet as you if I wanted to, and you wouldn't get it.
Are you sure?
I could share the same phone, toilet, or a knife, spoon, anything, and you wouldn't get it.
How do you know all
Trust
this?
me, I've done enough reading and research on this.
Well, what if you get some sweat on me?
Oh, you can't get it from sweat. I mean, I could swim in the same pool as you. I mean, I could even spit on you if I wanted to, and you wouldn't get it.
Why are you telling me all this? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do.
I don't want you to do anything. Just keep doing what you've been doing. I mean, just be my friend.
Again, Michael, some very strong material there, and I'm sure the feedback that you got from that was quite overwhelming.
Yes.
Please tell us, I'll give you a couple of seconds to give us a blurb of the message you want to send out, but tell us how to get in touch with you again.
Just call my telephone number at the office, 908-249-5030.
Okay, and again, tell us a little, what's your message? What's your final message you want to get out to the viewers?
Our show may seem heavy from the clips we chose, but it's really not. Our message behind the show is laugh at yourself. If you can laugh at yourself, your problems are half solved. And being a teenager can be seem to be a time of great, tremendous problems and concerns, but it's also a lot of fun. Enjoy your teenage years.
And I know you have a slogan?
The slogan is, you may think you're alone, but you're not.
Okay, very good. Michael Tavenslag from Tavenslag Productions, thanks very much for joining us on For Art's Sake.